We're down here for Redskins training camp in the capital of the great Commonwealth of Virginia. One of my favorite people on earth is sitting across from me. How bad could it be? Mr. Larry Michael, back on CDBTW. Great to see you, Larry.
Good to see you. If you replace the word beer with Tito's, that could be my song.
You're a more slender gentleman than I am. I've got to make that switch at some point, for God's sakes.
It's a good idea. It is gluten-free.
I've heard that as much. I don't know about this gluten, but I heard it's bad for you.
Yeah, I'm a little low, I think, on my gluten. That's why I'm trying to make it up.
Go on, get some gluten tonight. Yeah. How has Richmond been, my friend?
Richmond's been great. Richmond's been hot. You have picked the best day to be here, sir.
I've heard that.
Great cloud cover here. You might get a little rain. Who knows? If the wind starts kicking up, you better have something on tape because people evacuate quickly here. But I think all the important things, obviously you've got some storylines unfolding, and Thursday we got the first preseason game, so
can't believe that.
It'll take another step. And I do think there's some jobs that can be won or lost, more so than most years.
All right, give me a couple outside of the quarterback position that you're looking at as far as jobs that can be won or lost in the next few weeks.
Well, when I came here, I wasn't sure about the wide receivers core. Everybody's, emailing me, who's the number one? They've got a lot of talent at wide receiver, and the young guys are very impressive. Harmon's been impressive. Terry McLaurin's been impressive. Brian Quick has been one of the stars, in my opinion, in camp. He hasn't missed a pass.
By the way, he's huge.
He's huge, and you go on and on. Cam Sims, to me, is a great eye catcher. You watch him flash. How many guys are they going to keep? That is the situation there.
Get out of here. Is that good?
How many? How many can you keep? 6?
I'd like to keep 6.
I've done the counting, and anybody can sit out there and look, and you'll see that there's somebody pretty good. And Robert Davis might be kind of an unsung hero here. Last year he got his knee blown up, and he has not missed a day at camp. That is just an incredible recovery. He's looked pretty good, too. So, and that helps you evaluate the quarterbacks, which is the big question coming into Thursday. Also, the secondary, I think, corner. This team has a lot of speed now. You got a couple guys who might be on the bubble there. Offensive line, though, they've kind of loaded up. Donald Penn, I was told, had one of the best workouts in recent memory for an offensive lineman, and he is here. And Eric Flowers has been moved inside, which was the plan, but they hadn't been able to execute that until they got somebody at left tackle. And Wes Martin, I think you got Wes Martin. You also got Donald Penn, Eric Flowers, Jerron Christian. There's some combinations there that are going to be settled during the preseason games.
Is Flowers looking more comfortable at guard?
Yes. Again, I've said it a million times. We know how he looks at tackle.
Yes.
So if you're going to try to do this, put him in there. The guy's got athletic ability. He is huge, and maybe it's just that first step on pass pro that he obviously got burned by Kerrigan. Must have 100 sacks over the years against him. So too early to tell. But then you take a look at the preseason games, and maybe that'll give you an indication, Chad.
Talk to me about this. Is going to be I'm going to do a phone topic on this later, Larry, so I'd love for you to weigh in.
Sure.
I know what Colt is in this offense. Colt knows the offense. He probably should be at the top of the depth chart. I got no issue with it. I don't need to see him in the preseason. Case needs to be familiar with this offense, and I want to get the rookie some reps. If it was yours to kind of divvy up over these 4 preseason games, who's getting what snaps where as far as that quarterback position?
Quarterback position, to me, different than some of the other guys that we might talk about. I don't need to see Jordan Reed once. Not once.
I agree.
See him September 8th, fine, done. For Colt, I'd agree with you 100%. He knows the offense, but he hasn't played that much. He wasn't part of the offseason program because he was recovering. You're 100% right on Case Keenum. He needs to get out there and show what he knows in terms of the offense. He talked about it. He says he likes where he's at, but he's not where he wants to be, which is good. And Dwayne needs work. So, and you don't draft a guy in the first round without thinking he's going to be your starter. So, that's the big question people are hounding me. Who is going to start week 1? And, I'm of the opinion that it should be one of the veterans. If both veterans show so poorly during preseason that Dwayne's the man, so be it, because he's going to give us the best chance to win against Philadelphia. But again, preseason. Dwayne hasn't seen a lot, and he's not going to see a lot. Is he going to be in with the 2s or the 3s or the 4s? This is where we start talking about the 2s and the 3s and the 4s.
Yeah.
And not talking about your dance moves.
Oh, but I have a lot of those as well. I pulled off some of them in that bathroom earlier today, speaking of 2s. Hey, listen to me. I don't know why I needed to share that with you.
I might have went in there after you. I don't know. You didn't have to share that
I
with me.
conga line into that darn thing.
Yeah.
Talk to me about. I don't want to belabor the Trent thing. I feel like it's overdone. I don't like the fact that I don't feel like I know this team as well as I would in other years because that's been such a dominant storyline. But I said on my show, if Trent Williams misses all 16 games, I'm sorry, Dwayne Haskins. I go to you to say you're not going in this year, kid. We're going to try it again next year, and I let Colt McCoy and Case Keenum quarterback this team because I don't think it's fair to the rookie. How crazy of a statement is that?
It's semi-crazy.
Okay.
It's not full-blown loco because you do want to protect your quarterback. But are you saying these other quarterbacks are disposable? Are you saying that you're going to go into the year? I mean, I like what I see from Donald Penn. Donald Penn has a very unique situation as he comes to a team that has a person who's part of the broadcast crew who he went to college with. And that's Cooley. He went to college with Cooley. So he says Cooley's his dog. I like his attitude. I like the fact that this guy could step in and start. And I could say 3 weeks ago, I didn't know who you had who could come in and start. Now, Christian has come back from his injury, so now he's getting reps, first-team tackle. Donald Penn's getting reps, first-team left tackle. I feel a lot better that there's a couple guys there, and Donald Penn especially. But, again, Donald Penn's 36 years old, so this is a tough situation. And I kept talking about, hey, is Trent going to show up during minicamp? No. Is he going to show up at training camp? No. What's the next big date? Game 1. So I think at that point, maybe that – obviously you need a plan B, and I think they've got their plan B. Are they as good as Trent? No. But if Trent's not going to be here, they're not going to stop the game because he's not here.
No. So –
I think the team's done the best they could with figuring it out, but a lot could still happen. I mean, it's a lot of money on the line.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I know like that the story came out like, oh, they're going to bleed it. Like, I understand they don't like the verbiage, but if I'm the Redskins and I say there's no advantage to me trading him, it's an enormous amount of money for anybody, and that will have an impact. It could not have an impact. So I don't know, Larry. Sometimes I'm not just saying this because you're here. The Champ Bailey thing. Where he comes out and says, I didn't hear anything from the Redskins until 3 days ago.
He fails to mention that there's a huge ad in the Hall of Fame program that was taken out by this organization, and that was not done 3 days ago. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Dan Snyder calls him personally. They do that. I feel like if this was the Jaguars or the Texans, anyone else in the league, that wouldn't have even been an issue. There would have been no criticism there, but because it's this organization, that happened. I thought it was nice they said anything. He forced a trade out of here. He didn't want to be here. So
there's a lot behind that too. But there's I could become extremely cynical when I come to Richmond and I hear that a lot of what's been done in the community here really has not been acknowledged. They're talking about the deal they cut, but they don't add into the contributions the Redskins have made, and it's in the millions of dollars, not only on the charitable front, but a lot of other places as well. But who am I? I'm just a guy that talks on the radio, and I'm not a very good economics guy, but it causes you to get a little cynical. That's why I love seeing two guys get in the cage, Chad, and settle it in the cage. And just do it that way. And, and I know now that Colby Covington said something about Matt Hughes.
Yeah, he did.
And when I heard that, and I got that, I said, man, this is a heel. This is a guy that revels in it. This is a guy that says, stop me.
He can cut a
Stop
promo.
me. And then if you see him come out, knowing that he's going to get the "you suck" chant.
Of course.
When he came out, to know that he knew he was going to get that chant, and he loved it.
He's like Kevin Garnett, man. He wants to get eviscerated by the opposing team.
He loved it. So he picked the music. He picked Kurt Angle's music, and the announcers didn't even say anything about it. I'm waiting for him to make a comment. Why is everybody yelling, "You suck"?
Did you see Cain Velasquez debut in pro wrestling?
I went to see the video, and he had the mask on.
Luchador mask.
I know, but I didn't. You know what? I went to click it, but something happened. I am remiss. But I saw he had the luchador mask, and I just can't imagine how horrible that looked.
Well, he's very athletic, man. I mean, he certainly looked better, I think, in his debut than a lot of other people would. I didn't know Randy Jordan was one of us. He's a big MMA guy. I was talking fights with him before you came out.
Great guy. Go watch his Wired Up. He is one of the most entertaining guys. He's great. He's great. And, again, going back to, all this stuff, I mean, just settle it. Don't talk about it. I mean, you're talking about, I don't think I've heard Trent quoted. I mean, I'd like to hear something. I don't know. But, again, we got to think the train's going to leave the station sooner or later.
I hate to take it back to fights, but in that vein, as Masvidal came out and said, look, I have a lot of respect for Conor McGregor. I'm not going to do all this dancing back and forth. If you want to fight, let's fight. I thought it was very refreshing to hear at that level.
Well, who wants to fight Masvidal?
No,
I sure don't want to see him fight Conor. I think that could turn out bad for Conor.
I think it could end Conor's career.
It would turn out bad. And he's doing fine just selling the proper 12.
And I think Dana's baiting him into it by saying the dude's too big for you because, Conor's got an ego.
His punch is too big. I'll tell you that right now.
I agree. I wouldn't fight him with a dump truck, a bat, and 3 friends.
Exactly right.
That's
I
mean,
maybe DC could fight him. That's the guy. That's the guy.
I'm done.
You know?
You got my $65 if that takes place.
Oh, man.
Or what's your week look like?
What do we got? We got the city of Richmond with an event upstairs here in the compound. We've got a practice tomorrow at 1:35. We got a full week of shows. Going to tape a show for Thursday, traveling on Wednesday.
Nice.
Back here 2 a.m. after the game.
Good Lord.
And then the off day Friday, I got to come in here. We get back at 2 a.m. and I got to go down to the booth on Friday and tape the TV show at about noon. So, and then I'll go back to visit Tito probably at that point.
I got to visit Don Tito myself here in the very near future with a little bubbly
Tito.
water and a few ice cubes. Now, look, this season, I enjoy coming out to the camp and coming out to Ashburn and broadcasting, and I enjoy being on your TV show. So that's got to happen a couple times.
I'm down with it. I mean, like the ratings have stayed strong despite your absence.
Well, I'm glad you guys could keep it afloat without me there.
But I'm wearing double the makeup. I want you to know. So it's been a rough year. So it's good to have you guys here.
Great to be here.
Especially
Larry.
you, my friend, to have you here to give your spin on what's going on here.
I'm a lifelong fan, man.
I
This
know
is
that.
very cool for me.
Still think back on that rant after that Philly game,
Oh, my
man. That
God.
just was a legendary. I knew at that point
Yeah.
you were serious.
I was very
You
a
were
little too
serious.
serious. I
You
go
were
back and listen
serious.
to it. I'm like, well, that's a wild person. That's a person that should be locked up.
Let me give you a tip. Let me
All
give you a quick tip before we step aside.
Please.
We had our first interview with Alex Smith today.
Nice.
And it's up on the site, and it's going to be airing on Redskins Nation tonight at 5:30 on NBC Sports Washington.
Look at that.
And I'll tell you what, I got emotional during that interview. He is such a good guy. And just to give you a sneak peek, ask him, what'd you learn? And he says, I learned that my wife is a special person to have gone through this with me.
Wow.
And make me feel how strong it is, the bond we have, for me to be able to move forward, to have her there. I said, oh, my God, I'm about to cry.
Hey, he's like the best person ever.
He is such a good guy. And, he's been lifting weights. I mean, you know what? Not an easy journey, but, he is a tough dude, man. He's a tough dude.
I've heard a couple people say if there's a guy that's going to be able to do it, it would be that one.
It would be him. And he's out here, on crutches. Hadn't missed a meeting yet. Well, look, watch the interview tonight.
I definitely will check that out. Of course, Larry Michael, all over your television, your radio, everywhere you go. Thank you so much, buddy. Great
Thank you,
to see
buddy.
There he is, the voice of the Washington Redskins.